This should be played at high volume.
Welcome to Outta Pocket. Here's your host, Michael Davis.
It is time to get out of pocket. I'm your host, Michael Davis, joined by my co-host from the Cat Cave and my special guest from this past week on Drop the Mic, Shannon Smith, as well as producer Desmond Johnson back with us. We had a basketball slate for you, as well as some wrestling at the tail end of the show. But we did have breaking news that the Miami Dolphins have agreed to a contract extension with Jalen Waddle, making him one of the highest paid wide receivers in the NFL. He's got a 3-year, $84.75 million extension. 76 of that is guaranteed. That currently makes him the fourth highest in the NFL among wide receivers with an average annual value of $28.25 million, right behind guaranteed money for A.J. Brown and Amon-Ra St. Brown. We still have T. Higgins, who needs to get signed. We still have C.D. Lamb, who needs to get signed. We still have Justin Jefferson to get signed. Shan, I know this was breaking news. Don't want to put you on the spot, but with $28.25 million for Jalen Waddle, being on the same team as Tyreek Hill, could this elevate what C.D. Lamb and Justin Jefferson get?
Absolutely. This is going to set the bar. It was kind of like last year with who was the quarterback? Left my head. Daggum. What was his name? The quarterback in San Diego. Los Angeles, the Chargers.
Justin Herbert.
When he got his, Justin Herbert. It was what set the bar for him, and then Joe ended up getting paid after that. So this is what's going to. It's switching around positions, I guess, because now it was quarterbacks last year. Now it's receivers that are doing the same thing, getting the bag. It's going to be interesting to watch that, to see who's going to get paid more money, because you know good and well Justin Jefferson is not going to settle for less money. CeeDee Lamb's not going to settle for less money when Jalen Waddle is the second guy to Tyreek Hill and he's getting paid that much. Nah, these guys are going to be asking for more. It's only a matter of time. So this is going to set the bar.
Des, what did you think about this contract?
Another domino falling. I feel like Justin Jefferson's going to be the last domino to fall. He should be. I think it's pretty consensus to the point that he's the number one wide receiver in the league right now. I guess him or Tyreek Hill, I guess. And Tyreek got 30 per. So I think Justin's going to get somewhere north of that. CD may too, or if not right at 30. But yeah, Jalen probably needed to sign. It's crazier to me, though, that Miami's now got two wide receivers that are both making over $26 million a year, like each. Like that's insane. I don't know if it's sustainable, but something else is going to fall off because of it. But you're putting $60 million a year in two players that aren't quarterbacks. Like it just, I don't know. I don't know. More power to them, but that's crazy to me.
Here's the big factor with that, because if they're putting all the money into the wide receivers, Tua, he's in his final year of his contract. He's making $23 million based on that fifth-year option that the Miami Dolphins exercised. He's going to be a free agent next spring. I don't know if the Dolphins are going to want to keep Tua if they're putting all this money into his receivers.
Is this going to entertain? It's going to entertain the idea that quarterbacks are interchangeable like running backs are.
See, I don't believe that that's true. I don't believe that's accurate. Matt Davis is asking, how do you rank Jefferson over CD? Pretty easy. Do you guys rank Jefferson over CD Lamb? I do.
No.
I'm a Cowboys fan.
Nah, I still don't.
You rate CD higher than Justin Jefferson?
No, but see, Justin Jefferson can't stay healthy, which is one of the things. He got hurt last year, and that really sucked. But when he's on the field, he's the man.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins throwing to him, though. I'm really curious to see how this is going to look with J.J. McCarthy throwing to him.
That should tell you enough.
I don't know if it was the quarterback.
That should tell you enough. He doesn't have a top tier quarterback throwing the ball to him, and he still put up numbers. It's got to be. And Dak Prescott's not a bad quarterback.
Dak
not
finished
bad.
second in MVP
But-
voting, so
Don't give
he's
him
more
started.
than he's
No,
more
look.
than a good quarterback.
And
He just doesn't win
just
in
because
December
I got
or January.
just because I got heat with the Cowboys, mean that. Just because I got heat with the Cowboys does not mean I'm dissing Dak Prescott. So chill. That's not the case.
Dak's a good quarterback. Dak's a good quarterback. They just haven't gotten over the hump yet in
Yes.
January. They do that, all this other stuff disappears. But until they do that, that's going to be the knock on them. That he doesn't win in January. That's really. Other than that, they win. They win in the regular season. They've won 11 games past 3 years or something like that, haven't they? So, yeah.
But how does that not apply to Justin Herbert when everybody's like, yeah, Justin Herbert's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL because he's super talented, and then Dak Prescott is like
Because
getting his team consistently there, and Justin Herbert's like not even the best quarterback in his division.
Dude, you know the answer to that question. You're a Dallas Cowboy fan. the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys is one of the most prestigious positions in all of sports. Like I'd put it up with point guard of the Lakers or I don't even know what else, but yeah, that or a pitcher for the Yankees or something like that. You answered your own question. Why isn't Justin Herbert? If Justin Herbert was the quarterback of the Cowboys, they'd be saying the same thing about Justin Herbert. But he's the Chargers, so it's a different kind of vibe altogether. Whoever the next, look at Tony Romo before Dak. They were the same questions were Tony Romo too, because he's the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, not the quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals or Carolina Panthers. Like it's just a different level of expectations for America's team. So you get what you get when you call yourself America's team.
I mean,
the gift and the curse, sir. That's what it is.
Hey, you wear the star with pride. I actually got to wear a Cowboys polo to work yesterday and got away with it, so it was pretty nice. So that was our breaking news. Jalen Waddle getting his contract extension. We'll wait to see what happens with T. Higgins, Justin Jefferson, and CeeDee Lamb, and see where the money falls. But for basketball, we had done Out of Pocket on Tuesday afternoon and went off air, and a couple hours later, it was reported that Bronny James declined workouts with over 10 teams to only work out for the Phoenix Suns and the Los Angeles Lakers. Of course, his dad playing for the Lakers. And I just want to say, and I don't think I'm out of pocket for this, but how entitled do you have to be? Your college stats were horrible. Yes, you were coming off a heart attack at such a young age, so I can give a little leeway. But if you're not going to want to show up to these teams and prove that you deserve to play in the NBA, like why would any team want to take a chance on you? Why do we think you would actually survive in the NBA? If you were not LeBron's son, then you wouldn't be getting any of these workouts. But the fact that you decline to work out for some of these NBA teams, it honestly makes me question if you actually want to play the game of basketball, if you're actually dedicated, if you actually want to make it to the NBA, or do you want to just, play a season or two with your dad before he retires and then you're out of the league? Shannon, am I out of pocket for saying that?
No. This is I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer when I say this, but you are looking at LeBron James' son. And LeBron James is one of those guys who has controlled the media narrative for years. Look what his son is doing, just like his pops. He's able to generate media. He's able to generate names. You mean to tell me that you're talking about a guy who was not averaged over 10 points a game in college in a weak draft such as this? It's the perfect storm. I don't like the idea. I think it's messed up. But he's taking advantage of a good thing because this draft is not that great, and he's able to generate media buzz off of this. Oh, it's a great idea. Not good for him, but it's a great idea. So yeah.
Des, what did you think about him declining workout with over 10 NBA teams?
I didn't think it was a good idea. Only reason why I could think of him declining is that he wouldn't want weaknesses to show before the draft by performing for so many different teams, especially if you already have a team saying, we might throw a second rounder at you, like the Lakers, or I don't even think the Suns would draft him. Like if it's not the Lakers, I don't think he's getting drafted. And I don't know if you noticed, but LeBron announcing he's going to become a free agent or whatever, he not necessarily is going to become a free agent. The draft happens 2 days before that deadline. So LeBron has like a $51 million player option with the Lakers, right? He can basically what he's saying is he's going to wait and see if the Lakers draft Bronny or not. And he's going to hold over their head this player option that he has that he can sign to stay with the Lakers. If he doesn't sign it and they don't draft Bronny and Bronny ends up in, I don't know, Cleveland, LeBron could actually, in theory, just not re-sign with the Lakers and go sign with Cleveland for a year and play in Cleveland with his son, which in my mind, I'm thinking if he goes anywhere, that's what's going to happen. He's going to end up going back to Cleveland because Cleveland just randomly drafts Bronny James in the late second round or whatever and goes from there. Because if you get drafted in the second round, then you're not necessarily a two-way player. Like a two-way player only gets a guaranteed number of games and you're going to be playing in the G League and all that kind of stuff. That's not what Bronny wants to do. He'd be better off just signing as a free agent with somebody. But he's 6'1". He's got some deficiencies. He's not an NBA player. Again, if he wasn't LeBron James' son, if he wasn't LeBron James Jr., we wouldn't even be having this segment. And we've said that from the beginning. So the fact that he decided not to work out for these other teams, to me, tells me, well, they were giving him a shot, not because they think he's an NBA player, but they think that they might possibly land LeBron if they entertain signing Bronny, which I don't think was going to be the case either. And then finally, we keep saying this over and over again, but has Bronny said he wanted to play with his dad? Like, we keep saying that, they want to play together and all this other stuff. I've never heard Bronny James once say he wants to play with his dad in the NBA. I heard LeBron say it a couple of years ago that he'd like to play with him, but even he's backed off of that too. So, but we keep clinging to it in the media that, well, LeBron's going to do whatever he can to play with his son and this, that, and the third. I don't think that's the big decision for LeBron. The decision for LeBron is comfort at this point, because I don't even know how much another ring really means to him either at this point of his career either. He's got all the records. He's an all-time great. He may even think in his mind he can't catch Jordan. So it's like, what could, even if he added another ring, he's not going to catch him. So it's like he's kind of running on a road. The only thing really left for him to do would be to play with his son for a year, which would be pretty cool. But other than that, the best place to do that is in LA, where he's already at, and he'll get the most money because he already has a $51 million player option that's just sitting there. He just has to sign it. So none of this has anything to do with Bronny. All of this has to do with LeBron, in my opinion, and what he does next.
Exactly.
Yeah, it'll
it's just a good story. Is all it is. It's a good story.
It's just something the media that keeps LeBron's name in their mouth. Yeah, that's all it is.
And there's always in the draft,
senior and junior.
Yeah, there's always moments in the draft where like the media will cling to a certain player and you're a sports fan and you're like, there's no way this guy could survive in the NFL or the NBA, but the media just latches on for whatever feel-good story and it pushes them all the way there to get like media recognition. But at the end of the day, I don't think Bronny James is going to do much. And he might surprise us. He might do stuff, but him declining 10 plus NBA workouts is not a good move. But that wasn't the only NBA draft news that dropped this week. Caleb Love is returning to Arizona. The former UNC Tar Heel transferred to play for the Arizona Wildcats last year, but he's withdrawn from the NBA draft. And I feel like this is a weaker class. So I feel like if there's any opportunity for Caleb Love to get drafted and to make moves and to be on an NBA roster, it would be this year. So it doesn't make too much sense that Caleb Love would withdraw from the draft and return to Arizona unless he wants a national championship. But this is making me question. Shannon and Des, I'm so sorry that you are UNC fans. So you've probably watched him a lot more than I have. Shannon, do you think Caleb Love withdrawing from the NBA draft basically signals that his playing career is going to be done after college?
First of all, we're sorry for you because one of the last shining moments of a Duke game was Caleb Love raising up, shooting the J to win it for the Final Four and going to the national title.
Yeah,
so if I were you, I would cheer.
We're fine. We're just fine. Don't feel sorry for us. We're cool. We're fine.
For what? I mean,
yeah, we're sorry for it.
But it does. But sorry about that, Mike. I got to get you sometime. But it makes it good for Arizona because Arizona gets a formidable player in Caleb Love. It does bolster the roster. It's going to be tough considering the fact that Connecticut is going to be Connecticut still, and you've got the building in Carolina. You got the building all over the place, and the transfer portal being prominent throughout college basketball. It's going to help Arizona. It's going to, no doubt. It'll help Caleb Love's stock, and plus he's going to get a little bit of money on top of that too, because of that NIL money is going to be good there. I think a lot of these guys are realizing they can get paid staying back in college and not have to worry about the pressure of the NBA for one more year. So it's good for Caleb, and I think that is good for his future. So good job for him.
The only 1% of college athletes actually play pro sports. So like it's not a failure for Caleb Love not to make the NBA. It's not a failure for RJ Davis not to make the NBA. I mean, there's other options for them to go play ball professionally and make good money for loads of years, especially overseas. So, I mean, and that's where a lot of these players go, even the Duke one and dones. There's plenty of them that are overseas right now playing for overseas money because they didn't pan out in the NBA. And it's not, I don't expect, for RJ's case, he's 6'1" or whatever. Yeah, he shoots over 40% from three, but he's going to have to be in his fifth year here at Carolina. He'll have to show something that he can be a specialty type of guy in the NBA for a team to take a chance on him. I mean, Dame Lillard's like 6'2", 6'3", or something like that himself. Steph is actually 6'4", if I'm not mistaken. Caleb Love is 6'4". So I was actually more surprised that Caleb decided to come back and not take a chance in the draft this year. But I think between the two of them, Caleb Love can actually build his resume better for an NBA draft pick than RJ can. And that's not RJ's fault. I think RJ's the better player, but RJ's size is going to hamper him for the position he would have to play in the NBA, whereas Caleb Love can actually grow into a pretty decent rotational shooting guard in the NBA in the right system with the right coach. So between the two of them coming back, I would say Caleb Love coming back is bigger because he can actually increase his standing. I don't know how much more RJ can increase his. He was first team All-American this past year, and he's going to be the face of Carolina basketball this upcoming year. I don't know what else he can do other than winning a national championship to increase his standing, and even that might not increase his draft stock. So I think for Caleb, it was the right thing for him to do.
So just for clarification, what would you expect from Caleb Love, Des, to increase that draft stock? Like, how could he do that this year?
Probably playing more within the flow of the game. Sometimes Caleb Love will try to take a game on himself. Like he'll start to feeling it a little bit. And as quickly as he might be hot, it might go away. He's super hot and cold. He's very streaky as a shooter. I'd probably work on that some. If he can get up above 40% from three, that'll probably help him out a lot. I would show more of a game driving to the cup, kind of like Dwayne Wade style. Show some of that physical, that ability to get there. You've got the size. You've got the ability to do so. Don't just stand out behind the three-point line half the game and then expect to get drafted in the first round of the NBA draft. It's just not going to work. So just be more active. Show aspects of your game you haven't really been spotlighted. Your defense, stuff like that, that'll make a team take a chance on you to see if you could potentially be a rotational player down the road. Because I think he can be. I really do. I think RJ can too, to be honest. But because shooters shoot. Like you can't, not everybody can shoot. And RJ Davis is a shooter. Caleb Love is a shooter. Caleb Love is just a shooter where he'll continue to shoot even after he's out of bullets. He'll just continue to shoot. So between the two of them, though, Caleb Love, I think, would be the best one to have the opportunity to get to the NBA. If I had to choose which one might have a longer pro career, I'd say it'd probably be RJ, and some of that would probably be overseas. But I'm fine with that. Like, as a Carolina fan, we don't care so much like the Duke fan. Duke fans have gotten to the point where they've equated the success of their 8-month rentals based off of what they did in the pros. Whereas Carolina fans, if they do fine in the pros, that's fine. If they do great in the pros, even better. But if they don't, that doesn't erase what they did for us at Carolina. Like, we don't look at Sean May and Raymond Felton differently because their Bobcat careers didn't pan out or whatever. They won a national championship at Carolina. They're Carolina players. So I think we just look at it differently. I don't look at RJ coming back for fifth year as a failure. You're the big man on campus at Carolina in basketball, and you're getting paid like $2 million to do it. What is the problem here? Like who would not want to go back to college for a fifth year and get paid to play basketball?
I mean, I feel like that's one of the things is like college players can get paid for these moments. Also, shout out to all the people watching and commenting on our YouTube channel. Mac commented earlier, Brett Wiseman, former host of The Score, commenting as well. Elizabeth, Derek Polly.
I'm going to correct Brett because that's not true. I think he's saying that the NBA drafts can get overshadowed by NHL. The draft also isn't very strong. It's taking place inside the Spirit in Las Vegas. That's Raiders, baby. I don't think the NHL will ever overshadow the NBA. We love you, Brett, but that's an out-of-pocket take. I don't even know
They were close.
I don't know what to do with it. Like it was like what?
They were close when Connor McDavid was coming out. At that, Connor McDavid was about the number 1 pick in the NHL draft. That was about the closest that the NHL got in years. So
I don't even know what that is.
I
don't even know what that is.
So. No.
Now it is interesting. It's the WNBA with Caitlin Clark. You know how they did really well with this WNBA draft. Like that could overshadow this NBA
but
draft.
They had coming into it though the college basketball playoffs and the storylines with Clark and Angel Reese and LSU, South Carolina, and like they had a bunch of storylines that led to people being intrigued by it, and it's carried over to WNBA. What storylines in NHL are going to make me flip it over there before I watch a weak NBA draft? Like I'm still going to watch the NBA draft. Like I don't know. Sorry, I don't know.
Especially since I'm like emotionally attached to what Miami does
Charlotte's
right outside the lottery.
Yeah, but even in a weak draft, the Hornets are picking 6. I need to know if they're going to mess this up or they're going to pick somebody that I'm like, okay, that can work. Like, and even then, I'm going to stick around and see where's Bronny going to go. You know, like all this stuff that in a weak draft, we're all going to sit there and watch the whole thing. We're all going to sit there and watch the entire draft.
Don't equate the Charlotte Hornets to the Oakland Raiders. Don't do that, man. I mean, that's what we've been watching with the NFL with the Oakland Raiders. Who are the Raiders going to draft and how horrible is it going to be when Al Davis was around? So don't do that. That hurts.
Hey, I know we have a couple Raiders fans watching. They watch a lot of our takes on Tobacco Road Sports Radio. Interesting because we're going to do something a little different to close the show. We're going to kind of combine that age well with something we want to age well. And it's going to be a 2-parter. The first question, obviously, the Timberwolves did extend this series. They'll play a Game 5 tonight in Dallas. I'm going to ask you guys who you expect to win. Do you expect the Mavs to clinch their spot in the NBA Finals, or do you think the Timberwolves extend their season one more game? As well as right after, Shannon and I got to do WWE or AEW recaps on Drop the Mic, which is available on Tobacco Road's YouTube channel. We didn't have time. Like we ran 2 seconds over. We just didn't have time to talk about the big news from Tuesday night's NXT. Jordan Grace from TNA showing up to challenge the NXT Women's Champion. This is the second time a TNA star in Jordan Grace has showed up on WWE programming. She was on the Royal Rumble earlier this year. But it made me question, like, where could we find two companies, joining together to do it, whether, a dream WWE or AEW match or a dream WWE TNA match. Mine personally is AJ Styles going to TNA next month for their anniversary and competing against Josh Alexander. That's my personal one. Shannon, who do you think wins the NBA game tonight? And what's your dream crossover?
Okay, I know that Minnesota, I didn't think Minnesota was going to go out to a sweep. I didn't see that happening. I saw them winning the next game, and they did. But however, Dallas still has the momentum, even though they lost that game. Dallas, to me, still has the momentum with them being 3-1. Even with Dallas being on the ropes with injuries, so to speak, I don't see Dallas blowing this up and losing 4 straight games. Give me Dallas by 4. It's going to be a slim game. It's going to be back and forth. They're going to beat the tar out of each other. Minnesota's not going to go out without a fight. So I think Dallas is going to end it at home, and it's going to be by about 4 points or less. As far as dream crossovers, I still want to see Kenny Omega versus AJ Styles one time inside of a WWE ring. So give me AEW and give me WWE coming together. I doubt it's going to happen because Tony Khan has an ego bigger than Triple H and Vince McMahon combined. I don't see that happening. It would be cool. But in the near future, I doubt it. But still give me that. Still give me AEW and WWE crossover. Let's go.
Now, before Des speaks, I did want to bring up Booking Like a Mark watching our show. It's very convenient. WWE's opening the Forbidden Door for TNA as AEW gears up for the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. AEW and New Japan been doing a Forbidden Door pay-per-view where they do a lot of crossovers between the two companies. They've done that for the last few years, but very, very convenient timing, especially with WWE hosting that NXT show and the UFC Apex. Des, do you have a dream crossover that comes to your mind, and who wins the NBA game tonight?
I know we're running up against it. My dream crossover right now would be a reunified Usos versus the Young Bucks. That's the first thing I could think of. And to your point, New Japan used to do this with WCW all the time. Like the Great Muta and, people like that would show up in WCW, Mr. Fuji, remember all that stuff from back when we were kids. Then they'd send Dusty Rhodes or Ric Flair to New Japan for a couple of weeks, that kind of thing. So I'm happy Triple H is open to doing that with WWE because that was something that Vince was not really for, especially in the later stages. Tonight, Minnesota has 2 of the next 3 games at home. They were the high seed here, and I think people have forgotten that. I think we're going to get the game 7. So in order to do that, Minnesota has to win tonight on the road at Dallas. But I forgot their record. They've only lost 2 road games in the playoffs, Minnesota, like this season so far. One, I think, to Denver, and then one to Dallas. So I'm going to go with Minnesota tonight to make this 3-2 and make it a little more uncomfortable for the Mavericks.
Man,
back to Minnesota.
We'll see how this goes. We're looking forward to a potential Boston-Dallas NBA Finals, but the Western Conference Finals is not over yet. Guys, if you missed Shannon's appearance on Drop the Mic yesterday, it's available on Tobacco Road Sports Radio's YouTube channel. You can just go watch after this. But we'll be back tomorrow for Out of Pocket, 12:30 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time for your lunch break. For Michael Davis, it's been Shannon Smith and producer Desmond Johnson, Out of Pocket with Michael Davis. We will see you guys back tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time for Out of Pocket.